I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're speaking with TAVIA LYNN Kallison. She is a creative storyteller and a passionate music teacher. She masterfully combines her love for music and teaching in the captivating book, Magical Music Planet. It's inspired by her personal experiences and her inventive approach to teaching musical symbols to children. She has woven a tale that whisks young readers into a universe where music has mysteriously disappeared, only to be restored by the courageous and determined three young heroes. We're delighted to have Tavia join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Booksavi International for helping us put her in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support writers like her by subscribing to our channel. Tavia, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
The pleasure to be here.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine. Loved your book. Tell me, was it years in the making? Was this something you dreamed up one night? How did that process go?
It took many turns, and I think the beginning is when I was 6 years old. I said, there was a piano, and I said, can I have piano lessons? And my mother was strict. So she said, yes, but you must practice an hour a day, every day. Holidays, your birthday, it's like brushing your teeth. And somehow I was stupid enough to sign up for that. So, because I had no voice, musical voice, but I stuck with it. And the symbols themselves looked interesting. They captivated me. And then when Sesame Street came out, I said, oh my goodness, that's what's needed with the musical symbols, so the kids can really read these symbols. So over a long period of time, I developed their names and personalities and melody. First was Alice in Musicland, and fortunately Melody in Musicland, and then the planet. So it's been layered and layered and layered.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, it's years in the making. You can tell it is such a beautiful book. It's well thought out. Tell the folks at home who are watching what the book is about.
It's about two planets, Earth and Newtonia, which is a music planet. Mm-hmm. And the book opens up there, and something happens between. There are these princesses, and they're triplets, and one's madly in love with Lord Berkeley, and he just before the wedding, he says, I don't want you to inherit your superpowers from your dad. And she says, oh, there's three of us, we're triplets, I won't accept it. And P.S., she's forced to accept it because she was first born by 20 seconds. And that's ordained that it has to go to her. So the father said, well, let's not tell Berkeley. Let's wait till after the marriage. And I will have a man-to-man talk with him. And of course, the whole thing blows up. And that causes planet Earth to mysteriously have no musical sound. So you see the rock stars starting to play, and they're stomping on their guitars and embarrassed. And in Las Vegas, a singer is trying to sing, and suddenly no sound comes out. So early on the next morning, mysteriously, all musical sounds vanished. And that leaves three special kids, Melody, Belle, Harmony, Chord, and Just in Time. And those are your three elements of music. And they're thrust through middle C through a secret sound wave called system, which is music spelled backwards. And they go and land on the planet, and they have to figure it out and bring music back to Earth. So that's basically.
It's a wonderful story. It's very imaginative. You've created a whole unique world here. Have you envisioned this at all as a film, perhaps an animated film or a series? I think children would love it.
Yes, actually, that's how my brain works. It's very visual. And so as I was writing it, I was seeing it visually. So I I think yes. And music being sound, yeah, it lends itself to being something in a visual sense. I did originally, I skipped a little part. I came up with it's called it's musical wannabes, the keyboard kids. And it was edutainment at first because I was trying to do something like Sesame Street. And so I do have a separate thing that could be sold differently, and it's edutainment where the kids, there's games and songs, and then they learn to draw the symbols. So there's that as well.
Telling a story early on about your mom insisting that you practice 1 hour every day, whether it's your birthday or a holiday. But that kind of discipline is needed if a child is going to learn to be accomplished on a musical instrument. Tell me, what are your thoughts? We need more moms like your mom nowadays?
I do credit my mom for this whole thing. And then I started teaching piano to my sister, and that went out to all the neighbors. And then I learned to earn money. And then she said, if you put it in the bank, we'll match it. I mean, it wasn't very much money, but I do credit her for these very good disciplines.
Yeah. She was a forward-thinking lady. She knew you needed to practice your music. You needed to save money. Particularly, you need to save money sometimes if you're going to be a musician. So that was all great advice. Tell me about your work as a teacher. You have such a love for music. You have such a creative brain and such a passionate spirit. I'm sure you just love collaborating with young people and teaching them piano, I presume, right?
Yes, piano. Well, at the beginning, I started out just with whomever wanted lessons, but I divided that into two eventually, where I developed the keyboard kids, which I did after school in someone's home, a group of kids. And that was very successful. That was pre-instrument. Then as I got older, I had less patience. And I eventually just said, I'm only teaching adults and the keyboard kids. So I sort of separated after many years of doing it.
Absolutely. I guess sometimes the adults are more motivated if they're doing it a little bit later in life. They truly want to learn and realize the way to get to Carnegie Hall is practice, 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 right? Are you working? Go ahead.
I was just going to share one of my students. I received a phone call, and she's the mother of it. And she said, we just got a baby grand piano, and my daughter is 5.5, and she'd like piano lessons. I said, no, she's too young. We hung up. And then she called back. She said, well, if my daughter's too young, can I start? And she said she works in a restaurant. So I'm thinking she's a waiter, and so I said, well, if you practice faithfully just 20 minutes a day, you will move forward. Then the other thing she said, can I play classical? I'm only interested in classical music. I said, well, you're going to be starting with one note. I said, but there's a book out. There's a series that I play all this and you play the one note, and we get like Liebestrom or the classic. And later, it turns out she's the twin sister of Peter Morton, which is the Hard Rock Cafe. Wow. So when she said she's working in a restaurant, well, she's working in that family business.
Yeah, that's so quite a restaurant.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
I did teach Marlon Brando's children. That's kind of interesting.
That is.
I was on my way. It was in Cheviot Hills, a suburb of Los Angeles. And a little adorable girl had her bicycle and she had to kind of climb up the hill to get in the garage. And she said, "Do you think I'm going to make it?" I said, "I think you will." And it was just a sweet. So anyway, the mother said she'd like to have piano lessons, and I gave her piano lessons, and she had the natural, well, articulation where she knew how to lift it and leave the keyboard with the and that was like natural. That never happened. Amazing. Eventually I get a phone call from Marlon Brando, and he said, "I have another child, her name's Cheyenne, and I'd like you to come to the house, and can you teach her?" And he said, "She can have a lesson every day because she doesn't live here. We're on vacation here. I live on the island. That's where she." So I started her as well. And they looked alike, except for their hair color. They articulated the same touch on the piano. It was amazing. That never happened.
TAVIA LYNN Kallison has written an amazing book. It is a book that you and your children will both love. It is called Magical Music Planet. It is an inspirational story, a magical experience that children will just love, talking about a universe where one day, mysteriously, music just disappears. And it's up to 3 young heroes to find the answer and the solution. I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time, this time until next time on Spotlight.